Welcome to the Bella Vista Gardening Program. I'm Geri Hoerner, president of the Bella Vista Garden Club, and with me today is Nancy Bumgardener, who's also a member of the Garden Club. And today we'll be talking about the events coming up in May and the things to do in your garden in May. It's a busy month in your garden, and we'll be talking about the garden walk that the Bella Vista Garden Club is having this next month in June. So we'll be talking about Nancy with that a little later. And I just had to say that the gardening seminar that we had planned for April 30th unfortunately had to be canceled. We didn't have enough people registered. And we were very sad because we're trying to get the word out about gardening, and we sell plants to thousands of plants every year, and we were hoping we could get some educational information out to the community. So hopefully in the fall we might have another seminar, and people are so busy all the time, there's never a good day to have that, so we'll have that one in the fall probably. And there are a lot of things going on in May in your garden. It's a busy, busy time. You're getting the leaves out, and you're planting all your perennials and your annuals, so it's a busy, busy month. But the Bella Vista Garden Club's plant sale is May 7th. And if you're watching this program on May 4th or May 7th, you still have a chance to get there. It's at Tanyard Creek Pavilion, and it's from 8 to 1. And we have just loads of perennials that we've dug from the regional gardens. So if you can get there, that's fine. We'll have wonderful plants to sell. And if you can't make it, if you see this program after the 7th, our plants go to Village Wastewater off of 71, Highway 71, and they're there, and you can buy them anytime, Monday through Friday from like 9 to 3, and they're all marked, the prices are marked on them, and you just go to the office and they'll help you, and you can buy the plants there. Also, the Bentonville Garden Club is having their plant sale on May 7th, and also Compton Gardens is having their plant sale May 7th, and they really concentrate on native plants. So we all have different varieties of plants in the 3 sales. And again this month we're having the Meet the Masters segment to show you. We have chosen Sherrie Eoff as our Master Gardener this month. It was taped in 2008, and Sherrie's very active in the Rogers Club, in the Garden Club of Rogers, and also with the Arkansas Federation of Garden Clubs. So Beth Strickland is the creator of the segment, and she's going to be interviewing Sherrie in her garden. So let's go take a look at Sherrie's garden.
We're in for a real treat today because our Meet the Master series is featuring Sherrie Eoff. Now, Sherrie gardens on 12 acres of property that overlook a beautiful valley just west of Garfield, Arkansas. In fact, her property actually borders the Pea Ridge National Battlefield there in Garfield. So I have heard so much about her garden over the years, I am really anxious to see it. So Sherrie is right down at the end of this lane, so follow me and we'll go find her. Hi, Beth.
Hi, Sherrie. Thank you for allowing us to come to your garden today.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and welcome to my garden.
I have heard a lot about this garden. I'm anxious to see it.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to show it off to you.
I've lived on this property about 15 years. My husband's been out here about 25 or 30 years. And parts of the garden are 15 years old, and some of them are as recent as about 9 months to a year old. We add a little bit every year, it seems like. My garden specialty, I think, would probably be perennials, and I like growing them just because you plant them once and they come back year after year. And to live in my garden, you've just got to be a tough plant. I'm kind of a lazy gardener, and they don't get a lot of special care, and if a plant needs special care or special requirements, it's not going to last long at my house. Well, this is my potting shed, and my husband built this for me, probably about 10 years ago, and it was an anniversary present. And I spend a lot of time out here in the spring and fall potting up plants and stuff. It keeps all my supplies together, and it's just a great little playhouse for me. My favorite perennial, that's really tough because I just seem to like most of them. I have been gardening some with the native plants, which seem to take a lot less care and have a lot less problems. And then a couple of new plants I've tried are the hyssops and the agastaches, which are sun lovers. A little challenging in my spot because I don't have a lot of sun, but they do bloom just about all summer long. Some of the biggest challenges in my garden, besides myself, are the plant tags that will say that a plant will get, say, 2 to 3 foot tall, and you plant it, and it gets 4 or 5 foot tall, and so it's shading out or hiding the shorter plants behind it. And I'm probably the biggest challenge because I just can't get in my mind that something in a little tiny pot will actually get 3 or 4 foot wide. And so I plant everything way too close together. This is my fairy garden, and I built it in honor of my granddaughter, who is about 2.5 now, so this is about 2 years old. All the plants out here are either miniature or dwarf plants, or they have fairy or pixie in their name. This is a little dwarf campanula or balloon flower that's blooming. And one of my favorite little fairies is the fairy godmother of the garden. I think she's just adorable. And we have miniature hostas out here and a little miniature heuchera that's called Petite Pearl Fairy. One of my favorite gardens, and I've only been once, was the Missouri Botanical Garden. And we went up in December and saw the Chihuly glass exhibit that was out in the gardens. And we went late in the afternoon and toured it late afternoon and after dark, and the glass work was lit up. But I was so impressed with that garden because in December, in a misty rain in the late evening, it was even beautiful then. So I can't wait to go back when there's actually things blooming. My future plans for my garden, you know, in my dream world would be probably to pull everything out and start all over with an actual design. But since that's not going to happen, I'd really like to put in a rock garden. I have several sedums kind of scattered around. I kind of like to get them in one area so you could really see them and see what they do. I think something that I could tell you about myself that you'd never guess or maybe never know unless you knew me very well is that we have 3 mules that we trail ride. We haven't much lately, but we used to do a lot of packing trips in Colorado. My husband hunts. We've been on 9-day, 12-day packing trips where we leave the truck and we don't come back for 9 or 12 days. And we're getting a little older, and that's a lot of hard work. And another thing is I love to fish and camp. That's probably, besides gardening, 2 of my favorite things to do.
Well, it's so interesting to see all those wonderful gardens in the area, Nancy, and we bring, that brings us to the Bella Vista Garden Club Garden Walk that's going to be held on June 4th. So Nancy and I will be talking about that. We've got tickets available, and there's flyers out. And you've got the flyer there, so look for that flyer.
People will be seeing this or have started seeing this already around the villages on the bulletin boards, and we're getting the word out about the sale or about the garden walk.
Right. So we have the garden walk every other year. We alternate between the flower show one year and then the garden walk the next year. So this is the year for the garden walk, and Nancy and Beth Castle and Sue Beatty have been working very hard to get this garden walk together. The tickets are going to be available. If you know a garden club member, they'll probably have tickets or can get tickets for you. And we're working with Arvest Bank, I believe.
Right, we will have tickets located at some of the businesses, and Arvest Banks will be one of them.
In Bella Vista.
In Bella Vista,
Yeah.
during the next few weeks.
And the time of the garden walk is 9 to 4, so you have a lot of time, but we have 6 gardens and 2 nurseries on this tour this year, so it's going to be a really busy tour.
It's going to be the first Saturday of June, and so we hope you put that on your calendar and plan to attend. Tickets are going to be $8 in advance, so you save a couple of dollars by buying those in advance, but if you don't make it, they will be available at our first stop also for $10.
Well, I think they'll be available at every stop. If you start, you don't really have to start on number 1, but we just have the map set out on number 1, 2, 3. But you really, once you get your ticket, the map is on there, and you can really start anywhere you want to. So.
Right, depending on where you start, from the village where you live. It's sometimes easier to start from the back.
It is, yeah.
That's true. So. But we do have 2. We have 2 stops that are not gardens, but our gardens are going to be outstanding this year. The first stop will be at the Village Garden Center, and that is if you do follow the map. And that is a business owned by Brian Gosnickel, who is one of our garden club members. And we will have refreshments there to get people started, coffee and cookies. So, and he's also offering special sales, hourly specials that
right. Brian's
will
been
be
so
available.
good to the garden club. He's been offering special things for our members. And
doesn't he offer a discount too for people that are garden club members?
He does, yeah.
Our first garden, actual garden that we'll be visiting is Becky Thomas's, the home of Becky Thomas. And she had her garden started by using a landscape architect, and his name is Bill Tal. We're trying to get Bill to be there with during the garden walk so people could talk to him or ask questions. And what you'll see in her garden is just fascinating. She has beautiful stops that you can just experience nature in as you walk around the yard.
Well, her garden starts at the garage door.
Right, right.
It really starts at the very beginning, at the garage door. She's so artistic and she's so creative.
She's an artistic person herself, and she has incorporated that into her yard. She has a grandchildren's garden, a little area that's a grandchildren's garden where she's let her grandchildren plant what they wanted to and put some vegetables in. And
we have the plein air painters are going to be painting in her garden also. So that's really going to be interesting to see the painters painting in the garden.
They're fun just to watch paint, and they're natural. They paint at the site. They don't paint from pictures. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that.
Then our next stop is going to be at Don and Mary Conrad.
Yes, right. And they have had their house on the Garden of the Year.
Okay. Oh, right.
The Village Pride.
Right.
Award for Garden of the Year. And they have a beautiful garden too. They have a little picnic area off to the side when you arrive at their yard. And they also have some vegetable plantings and water feature, and beautiful irises, and they have a lovely transition down into the woods. And so you just get a lot of ideas. They also have a nice grassy area too, which is
that's nice.
Pretty optional in Bella Vista, whether you want to have that or not, but they do have that, and it's a nice setting.
Then our next stop goes to Tony Lacoste. Now, Tony's been on the program before. He is our organic gardener. He gardeners the natural way, and he's trying to get all of us to garden the same way, and we all are, getting more natural all the time with all of his his remedies and his mixes, and so Tony's garden is just amazing. What he's done with the stonework and the organic gardening is just—it's amazing. His plants are just so healthy and so beautiful.
He is very big on soil anemones and making your soil rich, so it's constant and nourishing for all the plants that you have. He also is in a unique position for his yard too, because it backs up to the Dogwood Golf Course, I believe. And so he's considered the fact that he has that view from for the golfers, and has built up a terrace garden that you see from the golf course. And he claims it's a work in progress, but it really looks quite finished it would be quite finished for most of it.
Well, he goes into phases. He has phase 1, phase 2, I think he's in phase 3 now.
And it's good to have a plan too,
yeah.
like that too,
Absolutely.
so you can move forward. He also has a beautiful row of altheas, and they'll be blooming, I think, when you come in along the side of his yard. He has also incorporated a fire pit and a water feature by his front door, and we will have refreshments at that stop also, because he has a lovely patio that he has potted plants, and has just moved into the landscaping part of his yard.
Okay, then our next stop would be the other nursery, From the Ground Up.
Right, and there we have some special things that will be available for people. We have Dr. Seeley from the University of Arkansas, and he will be there to talk to people and ask questions of. And then we also have the butterfly lady, Brenda Embry. She will also be there to talk about the butterflies, their process and life cycles, and the plants and bushes that are...
Yeah, because they all have host plants, and we need those host plants in our gardens. So.
Right, to bring those in.
Now Lisa is a member of the garden club also.
Right, Lisa is. Both of these businesses are garden club members, and she will be offering, I think, some door prizes and some specials. So
she's going to make it a special day there.
Yes, she will.
Yes.
Right, be educational.
Right.
And then all of those gardens are on the west side.
On the east side.
Or on the east side, sorry, you're right. And then we move over to the west side garden, and we have one, the first stop, or if you're going the route of the map, the first stop is at
Joyce Sens, right?
Joyce Sens, and she is on Mayfair.
She's also one of our garden club members.
Right. She's a garden club member, and all of these gardens are so exceptional. We're really proud to have such beautiful gardens on our walk this year.
And they're also different. There's not two gardens the same. I mean, every garden is different, but these are just different ways to garden in different climates and in different settings.
And different mixtures of plants, too. And you just, the way that they've grouped things is quite unique for each one of them. She has quite a few PG hydrangeas, and I hope they'll be blooming. Will they?
They should be by June. I would think, well, they may have been over with by then.
And she has quite a few knockout roses and a beautiful ivy-covered
like a pagoda, or
it's a little
structure, or some kind of
little
structure.
porch in the back that's just real charming. It looks like it's been there for centuries, but it's not that
That's
old.
the trouble with the garden tours, is you try to have them planned when things are blooming, but things bloom at different times for short periods, and there's really not a perfect time to have all these plants blooming.
Right.
So we have to take what we get when we have the tour, but it's
and of course
really
we try and
lovely.
pick this time of year because so many things do bloom in the spring. And
And then we go to...
then we go on to Robert Key. He's on Kirkcudbright, and that's off Glasgow. He is a real gardener. He has a vegetable garden, and it's huge. I would guess
I think it's the biggest vegetable
Right.
garden I've seen in Bella Vista.
30,
I think it is.
30 square feet at least. I don't, maybe
Well,
more
300
than
probably.
300 square feet,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And he has that. He does have a greenhouse, and he has beautiful, beautiful flowering bushes along the front of his yard, and he has a real a park. He has an extra side lot, and he's just made that a little walking park, and he has a sidewalk through there, and so you go through the different trees. All of the trees are different. He's tried to have a good variety there, and so that is a unique yard.
And then we have refreshments in the greenhouse, I
We
believe.
will have
there.
refreshments at the greenhouse, so you're not going to miss out on having some good treats as you go. And some
Now the
nourishment.
teas are transplanted from another area,
I
but
think
everyone in
Scottish.
Bella Vista is from another area, but I think they're from Scotland.
I think that's right.
And they
yeah.
have this wonderful little Scottish brogue, and he's just delightful to talk to. He's a wonderful gardener.
Yes,
He
yeah,
really
very,
is.
very educational.
Right.
The yard around their, the area around their front porch is very beautiful too, and he's had some statuary put in there that really lends itself to the landscaping. Our last stop, or the last one on our list, is on Stony Kirk, and this is the home of Iris Gruelle. She has probably the biggest variety of blooming flowers of any place I've ever seen. And it's just beautiful.
It's amazing.
Just beautiful.
It's
and she has
amazing.
done several berms that she has just filled with beautiful flowers.
And the history of the house is interesting. It used to be owned by Marilyn Black, who was a member of our garden
That's
club.
right.
And her garden was mainly in the back. She just, her front was landscape, but Iris has just taken this up another step since Marilyn left, and she has just got that front yard just so beautiful.
It is.
You
It
just
is
drive by
beautiful.
and you just want to stop.
She
You
treats
really
all
do.
of her neighbors to a wonderful view every time they
Right.
drive down that street.
That's right. It's going to be wonderful.
And then she also has a row of Foster hollies, and I think they're one of the most beautiful bushes in the.
They look good all
they're,
the time.
They're just so stately and tall, and
Yeah.
she has put those down the side of her house. She also has peonies that are separate, and she.
Mine are blooming now, so I'm not sure if they'll be
They
blooming.
may not be.
in June, but they do have good foliage even after they bloom. So. And then,
She has a wonderful yard, and she always is so proud that people walk by or will just stop and look and tell her how beautiful that it is. So this is a real treat for everybody to get to see that one. All of these gardens are really wonderful.
yeah, it's going to be a wonderful tour. And I think we'll probably be having, in some locations, I think we're having some golf carts available in case you have to park pretty far down the road, and they'll take
Right.
you up to the house, and we're working on that too. So it's
If anybody's
easy.
concerned about the or having a problem walking, on those that have a slope or might be kind of difficult, we do have that transportation
I think they're
available.
all pretty accessible, though. The gardens,
right.
there's a lot of the gardens in Bella Vista are like those steep hills going down to the lake, and I don't think there's any like that. Atonius's Terrace, but
Right,
most of
and,
them are
and he has
fairly
that
level.
step. But we did try to, that was in choosing the gardens, we did try to make sure when we looked at them that they would be easy to walk through, because there are some gardens that are really beautiful, but they just are hard to
That's right.
to walk through, or have stone steps or something that might cause some problems for people. So
Right.
that was a consideration.
Well, we're hoping a lot of people will come out to the garden walk, and it helps us support our scholarship fund.
Right.
And it's one of our fundraisers we have. And but in May we're going to be busy getting our gardens all ready. So this time to finish your planting, and you want to plant so that you can't plant in May and have it look like a June or July garden. You have to space out your plants, and even though they look kind of small now, if you put them in too thick, they're going to just be overplanted by the time they start filling out. So you have to plant accordingly. The annuals can be put in. It's best if you're going to have containers to use the polymers to keep the moisture in the soil. That way they can retain the moisture in the soil. You don't have to water them every day. And as far as herbs go,
well, the only herb that you really need to be concerned about planting too early is the basil. And you want to make sure that your nighttime temperature is at least 50 degrees or higher before you, consistently, that is.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do right now.
I know,
it's
you keep looking at the temperatures and think, I can put it out, you know, but then you have to pull it back in again.
Right.
So it won't grow. If it's under 50 at night, it just won't grow. It'll just sit there. So
the other herbs aren't quite that temperamental,
No.
and they can be planted. Most of them can be planted in May. Of course, you have your perennial herbs too that might need to be divided. If you need to, if you look at those, you can
especially your chives that grow fast or things like that.
Right.
And the bulbs, if you might need to do a little feeding with bone meal, you really need to leave your leaves on your bulbs for 6 to 8 weeks after they bloom. And you can start in May putting out your caladiums, your cannas, and your elephantiers. Those bulbs can go out. And although the iris aren't bulbs, I have just never seen so many iris leaves so tall this year. So I'm just amazed at the iris. And then perennials, we just got to get those in the ground this month.
Right, just get those in the ground. Make sure you label them, because otherwise you're going to be digging them out thinking there might be a weed later
That's
on.
Right. And the lawns, now you want to cut your lawns about 1/3 when you mow. You can do your pre-emergence of crabgrass control now, and you want to fertilize with nitrogen only if you know you've had a soil test and it needs it. A lot of times people are doing fertilizing and they really don't need it, but you need the soil test to do that, and you can do that at the extension office, and there's no charge. So.
The roses, you want to watch for aphids and fungus, and most often the aphids can be just washed off with a hard spray from the hose, and that's the best way to do it if you catch them. Fertilize those that are established, because they are heavy feeders. And
you have to water at least so they get an
water
inch a week.
Deeply,
They love
1
water.
inch a week.
They're just really water eaters. Trees and shrubs, you can prune your trees and shrubs after they've bloomed, and your azaleas and your rhododendrons, if they need a little trimming, wait till after they bloom, and then you can just give them a little fertilizer after the bloom, so that kind of perks them up again for next year. And you can deadhead your lilacs, and my lilacs were just beautiful this year. They really bloomed beautifully. It was a good year for lilacs this year.
It was,
yeah.
it was. I guess it was cool enough to.
I think so.
That
cold winter, I guess they like that.
They like that. We don't like
we
that.
didn't like it. They liked it.
Our vegetables, May is the time to put in your pole, bush beans and pole beans and lima beans and cucumbers, eggplants, peppers, and squash and tomatoes. That's quite a variety. Mulch your tomatoes so that helps them choke out the weeds.
Right.
And prevent splitting and cracking.
Yeah, they like that mulch. That does help the tomatoes. If you have any other questions about gardening in May, remember that the Master Gardener Hotline is available Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 12 and 1 to 4. And if you just call 271-1060, you can speak to a Master Gardener with your questions. And they also have a website, BentonCountyGardening.org. And that is just filled with information. And then we have more information on our website. It's bellavistagardenclub.com. It's very easy, and it's easy to maneuver around our website. And we also have more information about the garden walk on the website, and all of our activities are on our website. So like I said, it's easy to maneuver, and you get a lot of information. And I want to thank you, Nancy, for coming today and telling us about the garden walk. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope we get a lot of our Bella Vista and our area people to come and see all these beautiful gardens.
They will have a treat.
Right. So I hope you've enjoyed the show today, and will join us again next month. And until then, don't forget to stop and smell the roses.